Hey there, all you amazing Real Life Betrayals fans. Today we've got 3 wild relationship stories that are bound to get you thinking. Let's dive straight into the first one because it's a roller coaster. So here's the situation. I'm 27, my girlfriend is also 27, and she's pregnant. But the thing is, I might not be the father. We've known each other practically forever. We started dating when we were just 14, but when I left for college, we split. Even though we weren't together, we stayed in touch, dated other people, and lived our own lives. Still, no matter what, there was always this connection between us. Something that never went away. Whenever we were both single and happened to be in the same place, sparks flew. We just couldn't help it. She was my first, I was her first, and honestly, no one has ever measured up since. It wasn't just the physical stuff. Emotionally, we just clicked. It always felt like the only thing keeping us apart was timing and circumstance. Deep down, we both knew that we'd end up back together one day. It wasn't a matter of if, it was only a matter of when. Fast forward to last month. My company decided to open a new branch in my hometown, which meant I was finally moving back for good. This time, there wouldn't be any more goodbyes. When I came back, I surprised her, and we had a long talk about where things were headed. We both agreed it was finally time. We were tired of wasting chances. We wanted to settle down with each other, like we'd always imagined. And to be clear, neither of us has ever been into open relationships. When we're together, it's just us. But only a few weeks into being back, she missed her period. And that's when reality hit. Before I moved home, she had a one-night thing with some guy she matched with on Tinder. He was from out of town. She didn't know I'd be back, and it was meant to be just a hookup. We bought a pregnancy test, it came back positive. An ultrasound followed, and the doctor said she was about 6 weeks along. That timeline made it seem impossible that the baby was mine. She told me she wanted to keep the baby, but promised she'd respect whatever decision I made about our relationship. Hearing that hit me hard. All my life I imagined us eventually marrying, starting a family together, and growing old side by side. Never in a million years did I picture her carrying someone else's child. I love her with everything I've got, and I know she loves me back. But at the same time, I was overwhelmed. Could I really step into the role of raising a kid that wasn't biologically mine? Part of me felt ready to commit no matter what, to adopt the child as my own. But another part of me wanted to walk away because I just wasn't sure I could handle it. And financially, I could manage it. I'd just gotten a promotion and raise, but money wasn't the issue. It was the reality of whether I could accept being a father before I was truly ready. I was completely torn. I reached out online for advice, hoping someone had been through something similar. Then came the edits. A lot of people pointed out something we hadn't considered. When doctors say 6 weeks pregnant, they don't necessarily mean conception happened 6 weeks ago. It could have been only 4 weeks, which lined up perfectly with the night I came back, when we had unprotected sex like we always did. That meant there was a very real possibility that the baby was mine. She swore she used protection with the Tinder guy. Neither of us are experts in medicine, so this possibility hadn't even crossed our minds until people brought it up. I kept it to myself for a while, just processing everything. Then a few days later, she texted me asking to meet up. We sat down at my place, and the first thing she did was cry. She confessed she had scheduled an abortion because she didn't want to lose me. She'd thought it through, even talked to her mom and some close friends, and that was the decision she'd come to. But she was devastated. That's when I told her what people online had said, that the timing actually made it very likely the baby was mine. I reminded her that the first night I came home, we didn't use protection, like always. Hearing that gave her hope, and honestly, it gave me hope too. We both broke down crying and held each other, almost wishing it was true. Eventually we got the results, and it turned out the baby really is mine. I can't even put into words how relieved and happy we were. It felt like the weight of the world had been lifted off our shoulders. Everything we had feared suddenly shifted into excitement. Yeah, our original plan was to wait a few more years before having kids, but this just felt right. It was almost like life threw us a curveball, and instead of knocking us down, it showed us what really mattered. Now everything is falling into place. We're moving into the guest house on her parents' property next week. They've been nothing but supportive. even insisting that we don't pay rent. Her mom even volunteered to babysit in the future, so we can still have time for ourselves. It's wild to think about how quickly everything turned around. A few weeks ago, I thought I was about to lose everything I had ever wanted. Now, I'm going to be a dad, with the woman I've loved since we were kids right there beside me. Honestly, it feels like my life fell apart just to come back together stronger than before, that I'm still on the hunt for a house in the area, but it gives me a lot of peace knowing her parents are supporting us. I can't even explain how thankful I am to the people on Reddit who told me the baby was most likely mine. I feel lucky every single day that she didn't go through with the abortion. Our relationship hasn't always been easy. We've had our share of complications in the past, but right now we're both all in. We're committed to each other and to the family we're building. We were each other's first loves, and despite everything that's happened, it feels like we're meant to be each other's last. Life is moving quickly for us at the moment, but instead of being scared, I feel a strange kind of peace, like this is exactly how it's supposed to be. We're not planning a wedding just yet, but both of us know it's going to happen sooner or later. A month ago, I honestly thought I was about to lose everything. Now the woman I love more than anything, the future mother of my child, is asleep right next to me, and I can't remember ever being this happy. Having her parents' support makes a world of difference, and I feel like things are finally settling into place. Someone commented saying they were glad things worked out, and I couldn't agree more. The baby has always been my biggest priority, and knowing that we're starting this journey together as a team is the best possible outcome for all of us. Having her family behind us will make the road ahead much easier too. This whole experience has really taught me how important communication and trust are. If I had let my assumptions and fears take over without asking for advice or trying to understand, everything could have fallen apart. She might have gone through pregnancy alone, and I would have missed out on being there for one of the most important moments of my life. I'm just so relieved that the truth came out when it did. I'm hopeful about the future, for me, for her, and for our baby. I really do believe we'll make it. Now moving to a different story altogether. I'm 18, and my boyfriend is 21. We've been together since early January. It hasn't been perfect, far from it, but despite the ups and downs, I love him, and I know he loves me too. Most of our arguments revolve around his ex, who's 24. Technically, they still live together, though since we started dating, they've only shared the same place for about a month in total. He says she's his best friend, and every time we fight about it, he tells me he feels like I'm trying to control him or limit his freedom when I suggest he should set some boundaries with her. To add some context, we're in a long-distance relationship. Before anyone says it, yes, I already know people like to claim long-distance relationships don't count, but this is real to me. We've even agreed to have an open relationship. He frames it as something cultural, almost like a French perspective. Since he grew up in France, he says it's natural to value personal freedom in this way. So I've accepted that he can be with other people physically, and I've made use of that openness myself. But here's the core of our conflict. I don't believe in loving more than one person at a time. To me, love should just be between the two of us. If he wants to spread that love around, I start to question why we're even together. The idea of him having feelings for someone else eats at me, makes me feel less special. He, on the other hand, insists he has room in his heart for multiple people. For now, he's agreed not to act on that side of things, but the tension is always there. All of this ties back to his ex. He swears he doesn't love her, that he only loves me, but he's also pushed me to accept their closeness. Over time, I've given in on so many things I never thought I would. I've allowed him to keep her in his life as his best friend. I didn't fight when he decided to continue living with her. I've stayed quiet when he chose not to tell his family or friends about me in any official way. I've agreed to him keeping female friendships secret. I've tolerated extending our open relationship to include her, which he's taken advantage of. I've let them spend time alone together in our city, allowed affectionate behavior between them, and even agreed to them traveling together as long as it was with a group. But now he's brought up something that feels like too much. He told me he wants to take a trip to Japan with her, just the two of them. I immediately said no. I told him it was too far, that I couldn't handle it. When he asked why, I explained that because of my past, I struggle with abandonment issues. I'm terrified that if he goes on this trip, he'll realize he still loves her, and I'll lose him for good. I even tried to compromise by saying I'd be fine if just one other person tagged along, to make sure nothing happened between them. He refused. He said the fact that I couldn't give him total trust was the most painful thing I could do to him. For me, that's impossible. I can't fully trust anyone because of my trauma. When I asked him to show his love by meeting me halfway and making small sacrifices to help me feel secure, he said he already had by not mentioning her as much, since it always upsets me when he does. He also brought up how his mother never overcame her trauma, and he doesn't want me to let mine control me the same way. We fought for hours. In the end, I gave in. I told him I would trust him without conditions and that he could make his own choices, as long as he didn't cross the line into loving someone else romantically. I told myself it was wrong of me to restrict him, to try to hold him back, or to refuse him my full trust. Still, deep down, I can't shake the fear that I gave up too much just to keep him, that he promised he wouldn't hook up with her, or do anything physical while on that trip just to make me feel more at ease. But I still can't shake this unsettled feeling. Honestly, you're already in a situation most people wouldn't even consider a relationship. From the outside, it feels like he's steering this whole open relationship idea, while you're just trying to go along with it. If you're truly okay with this, then that's your choice, but if you're not, you have to be clear about that. To me, it really looks like he's stringing you along. Personally, I'd never agree to this setup, especially with his ex in the mix. But since this isn't a conventional relationship in the first place, it's really up to the two of you to figure out whether it works or not. Now on to the last story. My ex-girlfriend, who's 25, is trying to choose between me, I'm 26, and another guy the same age. I can't believe I'm even writing this out, but I'm completely lost with how to handle the situation. My ex and I were together for 3 years. We met in college and carried our relationship into our careers in Chicago. We were best friends, partners, basically living together. Things weren't perfect, but they were always full of love. When COVID hit, I had to move back home to Dallas for a few months. My parents needed me to help with the family business and to be there for them while everything was shutting down. I worked remotely and called her every single day, reassuring her I'd come back as soon as I could. But she grew distant and resentful, saying I had abandoned her. When I finally returned to Chicago, she said she needed space. I was crushed but accepted it. A week later, we officially broke up, though we agreed to stay friends. Then slowly, we started seeing each other again. First as friends, then as something more. The spark reignited, and eventually she broke down crying, apologizing for ending things. She admitted she didn't know if she still loved me when she broke up, but now she realized she did. Still, I didn't push to get back together officially. A month later, my job sent me to New York for 4 months. On my very first weekend there, she called me sobbing, terrified I wouldn't want her anymore when I returned. I reassured her over and over that wasn't the case. We talked every night until one evening when she said she thought we were talking too much and needed another break. That crushed me again, but I went along with it. She cried again, insisting she was scared of losing me, and I told her I felt the same. She reassured me she couldn't imagine not wanting to be with me when I came back. After that, I noticed she was slower to respond to my messages and vague about her day. Calls went unanswered. I suspected something was wrong. 2 weeks later, she finally confessed via text that she had feelings for another guy, someone she'd been seeing during those 2 weeks. Somehow, I managed to stay calm. I told her I wanted to work things out, but that she needed to decide who she wanted to be with. We agreed to stop contact while she figured it out. Now I feel completely lost. Half of me wants to cut her out and move forward, but the other half wants to salvage what we had. When we're together, it feels magical, like she remembers how good we are. But when I'm not around, it's as if she forgets. Right now, I just feel betrayed and heartbroken. Honestly, if I were giving advice to myself, I'd say tell her to stick with the other guy and walk away for good. The breaks she's asked for feel more like excuses to keep you from calling her out while she pursues someone else. Her crying and saying she's scared to lose you feels more like a backup plan. Her way of keeping you on the hook in case things don't work out with him. Chances are, she's comforting herself with you 1 minute, and then messaging him right after. The truth is she's been stringing you along to make sure you're still an option. That's not fair to you. You don't deserve to be treated like someone's safety net. The healthiest thing you can do now is to make it clear that you're not willing to be a backup plan. Wish her well, and walk away. It'll hurt, but it's the only way to free yourself for someone who will actually love and respect you without hesitation.